Dr. Teddy selaku wakil FK ISIP memberikan hadiah kepada Dr. Umi.
Before entering the plenary session, let's have a group photo. The following photo session, I kindly ask everyone to stand up at your place. Please make sure that you're visible and ready to smile.
Hadirin dimohon untuk berdiri untuk melakukan sesi foto bersama.
Thank you everyone, you may back to your seat.
Hadirin dimohon duduk kembali. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you are enjoying the event so far. It is now time to begin our first plenary session, where we will dive deeper into some of the key topics of the agenda. I am pleased to introduce our esteemed moderator for this session, Mrs. Tinda Lisna Amalia, SOS MA. Please join me in welcoming Mrs. Tinda to the stage to lead us through this discussion. Give her a great applause.
Good morning / noon, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Also to those who joining from different time zone through Zoom meeting, I would like to warmly welcome you to the Fourth International Conference on Social, Politics, Administration, and Communication Science, or ICoSPACS 2025, with our main theme, Navigating Challenges of the Digital Era in Social and Political Science. Pardon me, I forgot to mention the nationalism beyond borders, because this is the main theme for today's speaker materials. And without any further ado, I will invite our three distinct speakers from three different countries, definitely. The first one will be Dr. Umi Naimah Sarahi from University Malaysia Perlis. Please, Dr. Umi, come to the stage. So, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Umi, shall we call you Dr. Umi? It's fine. Dr. Umi now serves as the head of Department of the Business in University Malaysia Perlis, or UNIMAP Malaysia. And speaking of her research, Dr. Umi specializes in management with expertise in organizational behavior, performance, career development, turnover, intention, customer satisfaction, and gender equality. So many the expertise, Dr. Umi. And today, Dr. Umi will deliver her insight with the topic entitled Digital Ethical Leadership in the Digital Communication Era Between Truth, Trust, and Public Engagement. So, Dr. Umi, welcome to Untak Surabaya. Welcome to Surabaya. Is this your first time?
First time in Surabaya, so I feel very warm welcome.
Warm, okay. And the University Malaysia Perlis is our partner, right? With Untak Surabaya. But for today, it is your first agenda to Untak Surabaya. Okay, welcome, Dr. Umi. And the second speaker, we have Dr. Abdul Aziz from University of Monash, Malaysia. Please, Dr. Aziz, come to the stage. So, Dr. Abdul Aziz, or shall we call Dr. Aziz, it's fine. And Dr. Aziz was originally from Bangladesh, and he currently teach as a lecturer, definitely, in Monash University in Malaysia, in particular in Media and Communication Studies. And Dr. Aziz completed his PhD on Queensland University of Technology, or QUT, and Dr. Aziz focused his research on the intersection of digital media, diaspora, forced migration, and cultural studies, particularly marginalized communities in the Global South. So interesting, since Global South is a fancy terminology to replacing so-called developing country, I guess, Dr. Aziz. And you know, today we have special guests from this International Organizational for Migration, or IOM, in Surabaya, because in Surabaya we also have some cooperation with IOM to collaborate regarding asylum seeker and refugees. So maybe it will be interesting to talk about this forced migration issue in the materials of Dr. Aziz. Okay, and then the last speaker in this offline session, please we invite Professor Teguh Priyodono. Please come to the stage, Prof. Teguh. Professor Teguh is happens to be our senior in this university, especially in the Faculty of Social and Political Science of UNTAK Surabaya. And now Professor Teguh serves as the head of Master Program for Communication Science in our faculty. And Professor Teguh is a professor in the field of media studies, and his research is focusing on marketing, communication, and media studies. And today, Professor Teguh will deliver his presentation about quantum communication thinking, interpreting multi-step flow in the perspective of wave particle duality. It sounds heavy. Okay, I don't know, I can get it, the materials, or because it sounds so philosophical. Okay, so before we begin to the plenary session, everyone, let me briefly explain the structure of this plenary session. So this will be 1 hour session, everyone, and every each presenter will deliver their materials, their presentation in 15 minutes. It means we serve the remaining 15 minutes for Q&A session, okay? So for ladies and gentlemen, if you have any question regarding the presentation, please keep it first, and you can ask in the end of this presentation, okay? So we shall begin to our first presentation from Dr. Umi. Dr. Umi, please, the time is yours. You can use this for the control. It's on already. Yeah, it's on already. It's on already. And this is feature.
Okay, thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And good morning to every one of you. Okay. First and foremost, my heartfelt appreciation goes to the ICoSPACS committee and also the top management of UNTAK. Also to the Dean, Dr. Ayun, for inviting me to be one of the parts of this amazing conference. So my name is Umi Naimah binti Sarae, all right? I am from University Malaysia Perlis, one of the public university located in the northern regions of Malaysia, near to the border of Thailand. Okay, by the time I got this invitation, so I tried to adjust my presentation to make it align with the theme of the presentation. And since I am from the management field, mainly I focus most of my research on OB and HRM. OB is organizational behavior, and HRM is human resource management. Therefore, I titled my presentation as Digital Leadership in the Digital Era, Truth, Trust, and Employee Engagement or Public Engagement. Okay, even though all of us, I expect, are leaders in our own way, and especially about digital leadership, I guess this has been practiced by Rector from UNTAK, by the Honorable Mayor of the Surabaya. It can be evidenced by the smart city of Surabaya nowadays, right? So actually, I thought that this insight can polish and can refresh our knowledge on this title of the presentation. Okay, this is the layout of my presentation. First and foremost, we are going to look on the observing the digital era landscape. After that, we are going to look about the crucial of digital leadership in this digital era. And after that, we are going to understand the relationship between truth, trust, and also employee engagement. And last but not least, we need to look on how we can strategize to boost the employee engagement within the organization members. Oh, sorry. Okay, now moving on to the first presentation, first slide, the digital era landscape. Okay, as we all know, nowadays the social media, the AI tools, and the rapid spread of information might lead to the misinformation or disinformation or the formations of echo chambers. Okay, as we all know, nowadays people are more having the tendency to give the like-minded views without do any of the factual checking. So this is the place where leaders need to play their roles to ensure that every information that have been obtained by the organization member are the valid and accurate information. Because at the same time, there are another group of employees or public that are demand and expect for the transparency and the honesty of the data that reach at their hand. So this is how digital leaders should play their important roles to ensure that the employee engagement can be boosted among the nation and also in the organization. Okay, so again, I made a mistake. Okay, so now, what is digital leadership? As we all know, there are a lot of leadership styles according to the existing literature, according to the existing scholars. To name a few, there are transactional leadership, transformational leadership, charismatic leadership, ethical leadership, but today, digital leadership appears one of the leadership styles that appear so important, where leaders are having the tendency to guide and support the organization member in the usage of AI in order to completing tasks, in order to build trust, as well as to inform the decision making. So the characteristic of the leadership in the digitalization world should include the integrity, fairness, transparency, as well as the accountability. And in the perspective of OB and HRM, leaders who speak and also communicate by consistently telling the truth, of course, can foster and build trust, and at the same time can increase the level of employee engagement. That those indicators is very crucial in boosting the organizational performance and also success. So this is some of the challenges. I'm not going to go into details. This is what needs to be faced all leaders in this digital era. The first one, it is about information overload. So we need to scrutiny and also prioritize the information that need to be delivered to the member. And number two, it is about two terminologies, misinformation and disinformation. Misinformation where we share the wrong information unintentionally, whereas disinformation happen when we share the wrong information intentionally to deceive others. And there are speed become the challenges, and also cancel culture as well as AI and automation. For example, when AI make mistake, who should responsible on that? Either it is the developer, the machine, the organization, or the leader. Of course, leaders need to take the responsibility if there are some misuse of AI that occur in the organization. So here are some of the challenges that need to be confronted by all leaders. I'm not going to go into details because I only have 15 minutes. So enough for me to say that this information, deepfake, narrative manipulation, leadership ambiguity, and credibility loss is some of the ethical challenges that need to be faced by all of the leaders. So the next one, digital leadership strategies in digital era. So this is what appear as important. For example, to be proactive and transparent in delivering the communication. Number two, need to be aligned with the offline and online action. It means that the verbal and also the non-verbal of any of the conversation or communication need to be synchronized, and then to encourage accountability as well as to practice digital empathy. Even though when we are utilizing the digital leadership, that will be based on the fact and logic, but at the same time, leaders and all of us need to also practice and be balanced in utilizing emotional intelligence or AI, because we are dealing with human that cannot run away to have the emotion and intuition. So to make it balanced, depending on the factual and fact, and at the same time, we need to entertain others by understanding their emotional and intuition. This is because everybody come from different personality, different view, thoughts, and also upbringing. Therefore, there might be a various way to entertain each of the member in the organization. So this is the truth and digital leadership. As I stated just now, truth refers to the honesty, factual accuracy, and transparency. And the distort of truth might lead to the tarnish of the credibility of leader. Even a single misstep will also tarnish the image of that leader. It means that even though we are practicing a truth in speaking and delivering our message, but even a single misstep, either in the intonation or in showing the empathy, it still can tarnish our trust, even though the fact is accurate. About trust and leadership, okay? Trust is the outcome of consistent ethical behavior, and according to the existing literature, trust can mediate between leadership styles, in this case, digital leadership, and the organizational outcome, including employee engagement. So this is what we found, that trust is very important to be built among the community or the members in the organization. So the next slide, understanding about truth and trust. Truth is based on fact, evidence-based and objective. Meanwhile, trust is based on relational, emotional, and subjective. Truth can be delivered once, but trust is built over time. It means that once we delivered the actual or accurate information, truth is there, but in order to gain trust from others, it will take years. By repeat and ethically, consistently provide a very good and accurate information towards others. So this is how I try to project the differentiation between truth and trust in this schedule. Okay, if you notice, truth is to inform people when we communicate with people. Meanwhile, trust is to connect people when we try to gain as many or as higher level of trust towards our colleague, towards our community, and so forth. So why trust alone is not enough? Okay, these are the reasons. First, this is because audience perception matter. Because the way the audience perceive the information, even though we are delivered the same information, might vary. That's why trust alone is not enough. But at the same time, trust as a long-term currency. It means that if we already speaking the truth out of the year, but only single step in delivering the information, it can tarnish or erode a credential years of leaders' credibility. So, the combination of truth and trust might increase or boost the level of employee or public engagement. So here are some of the strategies that can be played by leaders, because I say we are all leaders by our own. So transparent communication, showing empathy and active listening, providing a two-way dialogue, and also be consistent in deliver any messaging, and also need to inclusive voice. It means that we need also to cater the minority voice that come to ensure that everybody are treated fairly, and every minority voice are also be heard in the top management or any body that engage with the leadership role. So here is the implication of this presentation in the aspect of OB and HRM. Number one, ethical communication training. It can be enforced in the organization. Number two, embedded ethical culture. All right. Number three, HR roles in accountability to enforce any of the rules and regulation to increase the truth, to increase the trust. Therefore, employee engagement can be boosted, and those are very important to the success of organization. And to rebuilding trust also, in the time of crisis or reputational damage, OB practices like transparency, okay, practicing truth can rebuild the trust that might be damaged in the crisis. Okay, I think that is all for my presentation. Thank you very much. For those who are interested to collab with me and my team in UNIMED, I also provide my email address, umi@unimed.edu.my, and also my WhatsApp number. Therefore, you can contact me at any time. Okay, thank you for your attention.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Applause for Dr. Umi. It is so captivating here. Perhaps the concept of truth and trust we can use for our concern as a lecture of the usage of AI for our students.
Yeah.
We will discuss about it later, definitely. And then just shall we continue to our next plenary speaker, Dr. Aziz. And Dr. Aziz will discuss regarding the nationalism beyond borders, negotiating transnational citizenship in the digital age. Such an interesting story. Please, Dr. Aziz, the time is yours.
It's too big. Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you today? Yeah. All right, so as long as we have very short time, so I just want to jump into my presentation. So today in my presentation, I will be talking about how we can negotiate transnational citizenship in the age of digital media. So my name is Dr. Abdul Aziz. I'm a lecturer at Media and Communication Studies at Monash University in Malaysia. So unlike Professor Neema, I will be reflecting on my own personal research experience. So may I know how many of you are doing PhD here? Can you please raise your hand? How many of you doing PhD or Masters by Research or something?
Yang sedang S2 dan S3 bisa angkat tangan.
Yeah, thanks. So in my presentation, I will reflect on my research that I have been doing since my PhD and until today. So I will be reflecting on transnational engagement, transnational identity politics in the age of digital media. So before talking about my own personal reflection on my research, I just want to highlight some of the key foundational scholarship that shape transnational politics. So if you look at this slide, you can see here, I have mentioned a few concepts, which is called the imagined community. He's given by political scientist Anderson. So imagined community is the idea of nation. So nation is a socially constructed community imagined by the people who perceive themselves as a part of the group. So for example, now we can see what's happening in Palestine, in Gaza. Though we are not from Palestine, but still we are the part of the solidarity and the showing our collaborative support. So we are a part of the imagined community. in terms of being a part of this group from Palestine. So we are the part of the Imagine community. So at the same time, you can see here, one of the notions is called scape, given by anthropologist Appa Durai. So the scape gives us an understanding of how the global flows of media technologies and the multiculturalism and ethnic identity and people across the border from more global perspective. And similarly, there is one more scholarly contribution which is called the nation as a network. So understanding from more network perspective. So anthropologist, Victoria Barnell, she has been working on the Eritrean diaspora for a long time. And she mentioned that the network is explore how diasporic media and virtual communities enable to maintain a sense of collective identity and engage in transnational politics. And she also explored how digital platforms has become a critical space for negotiating belonging, mobilizing activism, and sustaining connection across the border. So based on this, I just want to highlight what I have been doing for last 5 years. So I have worked on the Rohingya diaspora in Brisbane in Australia and the Rohingya camp in Bangladesh. So some of my work you can see here. First of all, I have just tried to explore how the Rohingya has become quite active on social media platforms in terms of negotiating their identity on social media platforms. This is not about the activism, but also about the visibility, voice, and resistance. And also, I try to explore how they maintain the transnational family, because they have been living for a long time, they have been displaced from their own homeland, and they have been living in many different countries. So they have been scatteredly living for many decades, leaving behind their family members in the refugee camp or in the Rakhine in Myanmar. So how digital media has become a kind of a digital lifeline in order to taking care of their family members. And also how power geometry or power asymmetries shape their care when it comes to the digital technologies. And also I have recently published a book chapter which is called The Food Practice, how food become an identity cursor in the context of displacement and statelessness. So this is some of my work that I have been doing since my PhD. And recently, I have got a grant from my university that I have been doing on this project is still in progress. So this is called the July Mass Uprising in Bangladesh. I think some of you already know. There is some political unrest in Bangladesh. And I have been looking into how the diasporic community in Bangladesh, how they have engaged, used digital and social media platforms in order to transnationally engage during this student-led July mass uprising in Bangladesh. So based on this, I have a very preliminary findings. So you can see here, there are 2 hashtags have been actively used. One you can see here, the reverse brain drain versus remittance shutdown. So as you know, the Bangladesh has become one of the labor migrant intensive country. Also, they have a very skilled migrant living in many in Australia or many part of the world. So there are 2 prominent hashtags. One is called reverse brain drain. So people who are quite skilled, who are living in the many western part of the world, they say, we want to go back our home, we want to contribute to our society, so please resign and try to restore the democratic process in the country. At the same time, we can see here another hashtag which is called the hashtag remittance shutdown. Specifically, it comes from the labor migrant community who are living in Malaysia or many other Middle Eastern countries. And they said, who has been sending the remittance to their country, they said, we want to stop our sending remittance unless you step down from the government. So you can see here, there is a sort of different aspect from the marginal migrant and also who are skilled in terms of the way they are negotiating their own identity and protest on digital space. At the same time, you can see here, there are 57 Bangladeshi migrants who were arrested in the UAE because the UAE doesn't allow any sort of protest in public space. So they have been arrested and detained and deported and sent back to Bangladesh. And also you can see here, there is one more image in the left-hand side. So this participant come from, he has been living in Malaysia for a long time. So he was actively protesting against the government. Later, the government issued an order to revoke her passport. So his passport was cancelled and he became kind of stateless. So you can see here, there's a sort of a different dynamics of which can be defined as a precarious mobility or the transnational repression in the migration context. So I just want to highlight some key points that we can draw from my own studies, and also you can reflect on yourself. So if anyone is looking on displacement, migration, and social media platforms, so this might be useful for you. So one of the key ways to understanding the transnational politics is looking through power and the politics of space and place. So the politics, how place and space is constructed, is about the politics and power politics. So if you can see the example that the 57 migrant workers were arrested in the UAE, but you can see many other parts of the world, including Malaysia, KSA, Jordan, Kuwait, Qatar. It is okay to protest, or it is okay to make any offline political protest, but UAE, the government didn't give any permission to maintain any sort of protest or public protest in the public space. So this is how we can see here space are constructed in a very political way. And also there are some power, which is called the power geometry, in order to understand the contextual and relational nature of immobility and power relations. So we need to understand, if you want to see the transnational politics, so you need to understand the contextual fact, because everyone may not have the equal right to mobility or protest on the location and the space. And secondly, I just want to highlight is how we can negotiate our the trust and privacy. So in the age of digital media, in the age of social media, the trust has become quite a very common issue, right? Because of the mis and disinformation. So I found in my research that my participants maintain a kind of a collaborative privacy management is a more socially produced and also co-produced based on trust and transnational engagement. And also the way they created the information ecosystem, which is based on their informal networks in order to challenge the misinformation and disinformation that is spread over the social media platforms. So there is a paradigm shift in understanding the privacy. There is a shift from more individual perspective to more contextual and structural understanding of privacy. The privacy is no longer an individual issue, rather it has become a more network and participatory issue. If you want to know more about the privacy, we need to understand the context which is embedded within this aspect. And then finally, I just want to highlight the third thing is the transnational politics is more, the scholarship comes from more Western-centric, so we need to go beyond the Western-centric approach. So from more social science perspective, we can follow, which is called the multi-sided approach, to follow the people across the borders, to contextualize the contrast, difficulties, and power asymmetries across the border. And this can also define as a transnational approach to focus on methodological transnationalism that reject nation state as a part of your unit of analysis. So in order to do it, we can focus on global South perspective in order to get some new or unique insight to encounter the dominant Western perspective and to re-theorize, getting some insight from the global South. All right, so this is from my today, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Aziz. Speaking of displaced people, it's kind of endless misery in its humanity, but we got struck by your terminology of the westernizing. It's kind of mind-blowing, and we will discuss it later. Okay, and the last speaker, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome for Professor Teguh, who will deliver the presentation about quantum communication. So, Prof. Teguh, the time is yours.
Thank you very much, especially for my dean. He know I can speak in English, but it's inside to do it anywhere. I don't know why. Maybe I sent in here not as a speaker, but maybe just a stand-up comedy. So I can afraid make mistake when I stay in here and I read my PPT. So I have to read my paper. Okay, I read in my paper. But don't worry, although I can speak in English, but I give you three new concept communication science. The first is quantum communication. Second is social nodes. And third, information collab point. That is a new concept in communication. You know why I stay in here? I'm very nervous. I'm very nervous. I feel very nervous. I feel I feel under pressure, like Mercury singer. I don't know how long can stay in here. When there are incident, if there are incident in here, I hope my dean to, to responsibility. Okay, this article, an interdisciplinary reflection on multi-step flow of information concept of quantum physics, particle wave dualism. This metaphorical approach aims to demonstrate that the flow of information in modern society is not always linear, but rather complex, diffuse, and dynamic, like wave natural quantum mechanics. The multi-step flow theory developed from two steps and one step and two-step flow theory by Laserfeld. So then develop more complexity by Katz, annual Katz, in multi-step flow. This theory has become important foundation in study of modern mass communication, shaping dual view one-step, two-step flow which offers simplicity, the dynamic of information dissemination. Particle wave dualism as an information metaphor. In quantum physics, particles exist not only as objects, this with mass, but also entity provided like wave. This characteristic reflect the way information work in society. As a particle inform as concrete form and contact, fact, news, and statement. As a wave, information spread through social media, interpersonal discussion, and culture interpretation. For example, the video content Om Tolilet Om went viral not because it's literal, big content, but because the wave of emotional connection and digital culture that adopted, interpreted, and spread it widely. So, information not simpler, but it's complex. It's complex. And information, not passive entity that consume, but rather undergoes a transformation process at every stage is its movement. Opinion leaders as a quantum observer. In quantum experience, observation process cause the wave function to collapse into a certain reality. The particle that become collapsed, its wave function and make the position or property of the particle become certain. In communication, opinion leader play at similar role, meaning collapse. The received information, they not only dissemination it, but also interpreted, transformed of channel in different form. Thus, in the information research, the public is not identical to initial message, but have been collapsed by social interpretation brought by this opinion figure. Dominant meaning formation. Opinion leaders have a collapsing point. Their information is shaped according their interpretation. In the era social media and popular culture, the point of information collapsed by influencer who interpreted political news into personal opinion that is spread on 2 million followers. Content creator as YouTuber, communicate account through TikTok challenge, political memes, and conspiracy theory. Thus, information not only move, but so change from SD at pace through social node. Communication just it. social need, and collapse point. Communication, just like quantum physics, success as a message to be believed and responded as to is uncertain. Where social net is distribution point on any information account a promise figure or communication where discussion meet. Okay. Implication for communication studies in digital age. By adopting a quantum thinking framework, communication study can broaden in understanding of complexity of information flow in the digital age. Instead thinking linearly, we need to understand communication as field of interaction full of wave of interpretation. Quantum approach enriches us to understanding the flow of information combined with complexity. Social network, media algorithm, micro-influencer can be as resonance of information wave that speed of interference with each other. Therefore, effective communication strategy not only depend on content of the message. Okay, my conclusion. The first, my conclusion. The metaphora convergence between multi-step flow of information and particle wave dualism allow us to see communication as complex and dynamic phenomenon. Multi-step flow model rely heavily on the important role of social nodes in shaping the sphere of information. The meaning of collapse point interpretation is very strategic in social work, turning potential into concrete interpretation. Quantum physics offers a rich interdisciplinary lens to deepen the study of complex digital communication. Thank you. Alhamdulillah. I can finally my paper.
Thank you
Without
so much.
incident. Thank you, Maidin. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you so much for Professor Teguh.
Just minute.
Oh, sure.
Don't ask me in English. If you listen it, Maidin will to be answered. Thank you very much.
Sure. Okay. Actually, I thought we have 15 minutes, but turns out it only 10 minutes left. So please, anyone, if you wish to ask question, please raise your hands, introduce yourself briefly, and specify your question addressing to which speaker. Okay? Oh, okay. Bu Rizkia. Anyone, can you pass the microphone for Bu Rizkia? Bu Rizkia, please specify which speaker you want to address the question. This one. Stand.
Good morning. My name is Rizkia Dujayanti. I'm the lecturer for Public Administration Study Program. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I would like to address my question, I think, to Dr. Abdul Aziz. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, so Uh, Actually, I'm really interested with your presentation and also Dr. Umi as well, and even my beloved father, Prof. Teguh. But I cannot ask him. I don't know why. So, actually, how can humanity flourish in the era of AI? Actually, we believe that before we need to build the trust between human first before finally we build a super intelligent technology called AI. But at the present moment, the fact is just the opposite. There are so many countries, they think that to be strong, it means to trust no one. So this world is a field of misunderstanding, and the trust between humans are collapsing. In this case, the university has a very big responsibility and challenge as well to guide the students to get to the truth. So there are two questions from me. The first one is, what should the universities do in this case? Second, how can the university influence the government so that the government is able to solve the problem of trust between human and even between countries? Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Aziz, it's so unfortunate that human more trust to AI than the human itself, but please answer directly. Yeah, actually, it is also related with the presentation from Dr. Umi. I guess they both will try to answer. Dr. Umi first, perhaps?
Okay. Okay, I try to answer. All right, how we can strategize or convince the government to ensure that the trust can be built within the community in the university. So first and foremost, I guess the leader need to play the major roles in changing the culture of trust. So by the time the trust is shown repeatedly and ethically, consistently, so this will become the way of how we can see the leader is come with a high level of trust, high level of truth. Therefore, this actually can nurture the trust among the community in the organization. So first and foremost, the leader, they need to play an active action in educating all of the organization member to practice a good level of truth. Okay, only speaking the truth, only be based on the fact and data. All right. Nowadays, if you notice that most of the people in Malaysia, we call it netizen. Okay, the public, they have the tendency just to give the like-minded view without checking on the information. So sometimes the like-minded view will lead to the misinformation and disinformation. This is why leaders, they need to take the responsibility in order to do and deliberate and make a fast checking and need to rapidly communicate and educate the right information, the accurate information in the rapid spread of time. I think that will all need to be started by all leaders. So, okay, have I answered? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think, just to add, I think what you said, I quite agree with you. I think we need to promote the AI literacy. We call it digital literacy, but we are now talking about the AI literacy. So I think from our university level, we are promoting and encouraging our students to use AI for their assessment and for their everyday educational practice. So there is a fear, there is a kind of a gap, whether is it okay or not okay to use AI, but I think we should go forward. We need to accept the way AI is contributing to our society, and we need to know how we can make it how we can make it more effectively for our everyday practice in terms of from academic to our personal life. So we need to ensure AI literacy from more institutional and from more government perspective. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Bu Rizkia, I think there is no feedback because our time is kicking. And the last question, please.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you for the chance. I am Adimas from UNER. I would like to ask specifically to Mr. Abdul Aziz. So I'd like to add about the distrust about the Rohingya diaspora, especially in Southeast Asia, because it's caused by racism and religion difference issue there. In the class of linguist myself, I'm a linguist, so there are a lot of discourse analysis research on social media and local news, which mostly result on a negative sentiments of in social media and local news about the Rohingya diasporas. So some of them bringing up is racism to blame any of their country's problem to Rohingya diasporas. This is the result which is appear on the social media. Unfortunately, the local medias or even the political buzzers or even the influencers sometimes make it worse. They are amplifying the negative issue there. So some of the netizens, some of the younger audience feel like it is okay to mock Rohingyas diasporas, which is, I think, is very disrespectful. So in Mr. Abdulaziz's opinion, what's the best solution to address this properly? Thank you very much.
Yeah, you can answer directly because there are so many misinformation and disinformation about Rohingya.
Yeah, I think this is quite trendy and timely questions, but I don't know how to address this. So I can just share my own participant perspective. So from the people who are still, they have been quite struggling with a lot of misinformation. So they maintain offline and online. So this is not more linear, rather it's a kind of a hybrid space where as a social media users, they maintain offline and online perspective, online space. So for example, one of my participants, he was quite confused whether it is a fake or not, because in social media platforms, you can see that same content can be recycled in every year, right? So yeah, twisted with a different caption, with the fabricated images, right? With the fabricated voices, so it can be recycled. So one of my participants said, whenever I saw such videos circulate on social media platforms, I don't believe it. Rather, I talk to my parents who are living on the ground. So we need to check and balance whether we need to be a bit strategic, whether is it whatever we can see on social media platforms may not be true. So we need to double check. And specifically, we need to rely on the people who are still on the ground to verify the sources. So it's not linear, rather it's more kind of a hybrid, offline and online space we need to maintain in order to mitigate the risk of misinformation. Does it? Thank you.
Okay, sorry, because the limited of time, we need to end the session of the plenary speakers. So everyone, that concludes our session. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to thank of our distinguished speakers, Professor Teguh, Dr. Aziz, and Dr. Umi, for their valuable contribution, also for the audience, the ladies and gentlemen who attend this plenary speaker session. And on behalf of the organizing committee, also we appreciate your participation today. Thank you everyone and see you at the next event. So I will return to the MC. Please everyone give a round of applause for our distinguished speakers.
Okay, thank you Mrs. Dinda and all speakers.
For the next activity in our schedule, we have a musical performance by Beban Lebih Band. Give an applause for Beban Lebih Band.
ayo rek mlaku-mlaku nang tunjungan, rek ayo rek rame-rame bebarengan, jak ayo jak sopo gelem melu aku, jak ayo jak golek kenalan jak ayu, ngalor ngidul lewat toko ngubah motor, masih omong nyenggol-nyenggol ati lego, sopo ngerti nasib awak lagi mujur. Kenal anda eseng dodo rujak cingur, jok dipikir gon podo gak duwe sangu, jok dipikir agar podo gelem melu, mangan tahu jok dicampur nganggo timun, malam minggu gak apik digawe lamun. Surabaya, Surabaya, oh Surabaya, kota kenangan takkan terlupa. Di sanalah di Surabaya, pertamalah untuk yang pertama kami berjumpa. Ku teringat masa yang telah lalu, 1000 insan, 1000 hari bersatu satu. Surabaya di tahun 45, kami berjuang bertaruh nyawa. Rek ayo rek mlaku-mlaku nang tunjungan, rek ayo rek rame-rame bebarengan. Alright, thank you so much. Oke, kami dari dosen FISIP Untak Surabaya. Jadi mohon maklum dengan keterbatasan kami karena kami bukan musisi yang mencoba untuk menjadi musisi.
Kita jadi musisi aja ya.
Kenapa?
Kalau mainnya baik kita jadi musisi.
Boleh ya, apalagi kalau sawernya kuat ya. Baik, ini satu lagu lagi dari kita. Mungkin ada yang tahu lagu ini, harusnya tahu ya. Kita bisa nyanyi bareng-bareng. Oke, thank you. Siapa yang tahu atau mau nyanyi bareng? Tempe rasane koyo mangan lauk sate, senajan saanane sing penting ro kowe ngombe apa? Ngombe kembang tahu rasane koyo ngombe susu, ra usah kesusu resno kuro kowe.
kasih Bu Aiku. He 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 he. Mau nyanyi bareng Prof? Siapa lagi ada yang mau nyanyi bareng? You wanna dance with us? He he. Rayo mangan lalu sate. Senajan saanate, si penting opo? Si penting rokoe. Kowe apa Pak?
Kai, rasane koyo roti susu.
Rasane wong kang lagi gandrung tak berjuang ke tekan jalur melengkung. Nyanyi lagi Pak. Ciro lu
Kowe siji-sijine aku bangga karo kowe. Gempo opo anane tresnaku bakal mere. Kowe ora sumelang, tresnaku ora bakal ilang. Ibarat koyo bagus, kowe istimewa.
thank you. Kowe siji-sijine aku bangga karo kowe. Gelem nopo omonane tresnoku ra bakal mete. Kowe ojo sumelang, tresnoku ra bakal ilang. Ibarat koyo kuthaku Jogja, kowe jen istimewa. Asik. Ibarat koyo kuthaku Jogja, kowe jen istimewa. Wuhui. He 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 he. Ah. Ah. Oke, terima kasih untuk Bapak yang sudah bagi rezekinya buat kami yang sudah ikut nyanyi bareng. Thank you so much. Kami dari Beban Lebih mengucapkan terima kasih dan selamat melanjutkan acara. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's continue to the next session to discuss deeper about the topic of today's seminar. I'm pleased to introduce our esteemed moderator for this session, Mrs. Irma Santi Danadarta MA. Please join me in welcoming Mrs. Irma to lead us through this important session virtually.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Is my voice clear?
Yes, of course. We
Okay.
continue. Think clear.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam, Om Swastiastu. Nama budaya, salam kebajikan rahayu.
The voice is small, miss.
I'm sorry?
Pardon, the voice is small, Miss.
Oh, the voice is small. Okay, okay. Okay, is it perhaps clearer?
It's better, Miss.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so allow me to introduce myself. My name is Irma Santi Danadatta, and I will be your moderator for this session. So we're excited to present three distinguished speakers who will be sharing their insights and expertise with us today. So first we have Professor Michael Diswani. I'm sorry if there's a mispronunciation. From Queensland University of Technology. Professor Diswani will be presenting about navigating challenges in the digital era, digital inclusion in Australia. And next, we will hear from Associate Professor Dr. Christopher B. Hurst, University of Philippines. He will be talking about navigating challenges of the digital era lesson on public administration practice from the Philippines. And finally, we will have Dr. Lee Thu-ma from Ho Chi Minh National Academy of Politics, Vietnam. She will be presenting the topic of the rise of digital national narrative, a case study of Facebook fan page, government information in Vietnam. We would like to encourage all participants to stay engaged throughout the session. Feel free to share your questions in the chat box during the Q&A session. So to make it, to make the time more efficient, so let's just begin our first session with our first speaker. So our first speaker will be Professor Michael Diswani. So Professor Michael Diswani undertakes research about digital media, literacies, and learning in home, school, and community contexts. He is the program leader for creating better digital futures for Queensland University of Technology's Digital Media Research Center, which produces world-leading research for a creative, inclusive, and fair digital media environment. He is also the chief investigator in the ARC Center of Excellence in the Digital Child. Professor Michael Diswani is also the author of peer pedagogies on digital platforms, learning with Minecraft, Let's Play videos, and also the co-author of Social Reading Cultures on BookTube, Bookstagram, and BookTube. So without further ado, I shall welcome Professor Michael Diswani.
Thank you so much. Thank you for welcoming me to your conference. It's very exciting to be here. And
yeah, we're very pleased to have you with us today, Professor. So I shall give you your 15 minutes to present your materials. And if you, for the participant, if they have any questions, there will be a separate session for them. So the time is yours, Professor.
Thank you very much. It's very exciting to be here. I enjoyed the music before the session. It was a lot of fun to hear. And also, it's great to see my past student, Dr. Aziz Abdul, in the previous panel, and also thank Amalia Narul, who I also met here in Brisbane, for inviting me to be part of the conference. So today I'm talking about this challenge of the digital era, which is digital inclusion. And of course, for a long time, we have heard about this idea of the digital divide. We continue to be challenged by the digital divide, or by this idea of how people can be included to participate with digital technology. So we have been conducting some research here in Australia to try to better understand how low-income families in particular deal with the digital divide. So when we talk about digital inclusion, we really need to be thinking about just the basic fact that now digital technology is becoming an essential part of being able to participate in everyday life. it's more and more so in all parts of the world becoming a crucial part of how our communication systems work, but also, of course, for employment, for learning, for access to government services, for social connection, and for entertainment. And as we have more digital technologies, as we see AI and other advanced technologies becoming part of our lives, if we don't have access, then we become even more excluded. So when we talk about digital inclusion in the Australian context, we talk about three dimensions: access, affordability, and ability. And so access is about how individuals can simply access the internet. Is the internet available to them in some way? But can they do this also in a cost-effective way? So in Australia, for instance, we have a very big country. We have vast areas of the country which are very sparsely populated. And for some people, the only way to connect is via a satellite internet. And this can be quite expensive. And so, of course, for people who have a low income or less money, they tend to rely on mobile phone data. And this doesn't provide the same kind of quality of experience as a broadband connection. So this question of access is important. So affordability is closely associated with access. So can individuals afford to be connected? And can they afford to have access to reliable, up-to-date devices like a phone or a tablet or a computer? And we often see that people may have access, but that technology might be quite old or it might become outdated, and it's impossible for them to replace that technology. And we know that for Australians who are on the lowest incomes, they would have to pay about 10% of their household income to gain a quality, reliable internet connection, which is a very substantial amount of money. And we know that some Australians prefer to go without other things like food or, being able to buy petrol to drive their car just so they can be on the internet. The third area is ability. And so this is a question of even if you have access and even if you can afford to be online, you also need the skills to be able to take advantage of technologies for personal use, for public use, and professional use. So you need specific digital skills. And you need to have knowledge also about how to stay connected and how to troubleshoot. So when you have a problem or an issue, know how to solve problem. And then finally, also information about digital citizenship and media literacy is important. So knowing how to stay safe, to be well informed, and to participate in an ethical way. These are all aspects that we should think about if we think about the digital divide. And we know that Australians who have a lower level of ability tend to also be those who are excluded and who have lower levels of income and so on. So we have here in Australia, we have the Australian Digital Inclusion Index, which measures digital inclusion levels across the country. And when we look at that data, we see that Australians who are most digitally excluded are those who are mobile-only users. So we used to have this idea that if someone had a connection to a mobile phone, that they would be included and that they would have access to the digital world. But we know that if you only have access to a mobile phone, there are restrictions on what you can do, particularly for education and for skills for employment. People who did not complete secondary school or people who rent in a public housing authority or who may be living on a low income are also typically digitally aided. So we have been conducting a research project, and I'll just talk about this for a couple of minutes and then I'll stop. But we have conducted a project called Advancing Digital Inclusion in Low-Income Australian Families, and we have been trying to work out how we can assist low-income families in different communities around the country to be more digitally included. And so this was an Australian Research Council grant that last year. So there's around the country, we worked with 30 families and schools and a range of social infrastructure organisations, so libraries and schools and community organisations, to try to understand the needs of low-income families and then whether or not the community was providing for those needs. So we had a range of data collection processes, technology tours and interviews. We constructed what we call learning biographies, so where we asked people to tell us the story of their learning journey related to technology. And then we also conducted co-design workshops to try to identify these needs. And so we have really three areas of big findings from this project. And one is that many low-income families have what we would call data poverty and device poverty. So often they rely on prepaid access to mobile phone data and they run out of data very quickly. And so data becomes an important kind of crucial resource, and plenty of people don't have that resource. And like I said earlier, there's also this problem that they often don't have the devices to be connected effectively, or the devices that might be suitable for particular kinds of tasks, like for education. In our project, we also saw many issues related to literacy. So, for instance, the intersecting literacy issues related to families' use of digital technologies. Parents' existing literacies was a big challenge related to functional abilities, that health communication and knowledge related to consumerism and finance was also a big problem in terms of literacy. And then finally, we very much saw across the 6 communities in our project, we saw very uneven service provision and very uneven school support. So from community to community, there was no consistency in terms of the kinds of support that would be there to help low-income families to become more included. And so one of our big conclusions is that government, in particular government at the federal and the state and the local level, need to do much more to provide services to low-income families related to digital technologies. So that's all I wanted to talk about today, and I look forward to hearing from the other presenters. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Rizwani. So it's actually interesting when you say about the 3 dimension, the accessibility, the affordability, and it's, because I guess a lot of countries in society, they're too focused on whether or not their people can access the the mobile phone, the computer, the internet. They're focusing more on the accessibility. They sometimes forgot about affordability, and especially the importance actually about digital literacy and also the ability to actually use those technology. So this is actually a very interesting insight. Thank you so much, Professor Rizwani.
Thank you.
So now I'm pleased to introduce our second speaker for today, Associate Professor Dr. Christopher B. Burse. I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name. So Dr. Burse is the Dean and Associate Professor at UP National College of Public Administration and Governance, and also holds the rank of scientist. He earned his PhD in urban engineering and a master's in environmental studies at the University of Tokyo, and also the bachelor degree in public administration from University of Berkeley. So I welcome Associate Professor Dr. Christopher first.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the kind introduction, Dr. Irma.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so you will have 15 minutes to
Okay. May I share my screen? Let me just, okay.
So the floor is yours.
Okay. Okay, I hope you can see it now. So taking off from Dr. Deswani, I'll be sharing the experience of the Philippines, uh, particularly from the lens of public administration, because my field is in that area. But before anything, I'd like to thank, of course, the Faculty of Social and Political Sciences of UNTAG Surabaya for the opportunity to join you here. I apologize that I could not join in person due to other pressing commitments here, but I hope I would be able to share with you some of the things that we have experienced here in the Philippines, and hopefully draw some lessons that would be applicable also to the other social sciences and in Indonesia and other countries. So without further ado, of course, just to set the context, we all know this, that we live in an era of defined by data, algorithm, and disruption. Now we have to always keep in mind that yes, while we do, we now cannot be helped. We deal with data and the decision making of the government, for instance, but still there's always this specter of a disruption that could happen anytime. And that's why some people would say, you're all familiar with all of these things, how we live in a highly volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world, and there have been a lot of, or a VUCA world, and there have been a lot of interpretations or variations of that at different levels, at the individual, at the societal level, and so on. And of course, while we're dealing with all of these disruptions, we are also we also acknowledge the fact that globally, many of the risks that we face are things that we share. This is from the World Economic Forum in 2024, and based on the survey that they did with most private and government leaders, and these are the things that matter or that worry our leaders nowadays. One, of course, is you have the societal polarization, and that also is related to misinformation and disinformation. There's also the fear about an economic downturn in many parts of the globe, including in Asia. There's the issue also of course, there's at the same time, there's a potential and a big opportunities for economic development, and many other issues with respect to migration, health, and so on, that were also partially discussed in the earlier plenary. But then again, just to situate it in the context of the digital explosion, I would say, is that from the lens of public administration, there has been, of course, these are some of the challenges identified in the literature. One is the point about that shift of digital governance from something that's good to have to now that is something that we must have. Regardless of your state of development, it seems like the countries have no choice but really to jump into this development and try to make sure that we're able to swim with the current, and ensure that, of course, we emerge successfully out of this trend. So now we're not talking about transforming our people to be digitally skilled, and we're talking about digital infrastructure, and of course the need for citizen connectivity and inclusion. And then at the same time, on the infrastructure side, we now talk about there's now a stronger need for data management. For some developed countries, it's not a big issue so much, but for those who are transitioning and or positioning themselves to transition to a developed country, this is where the big challenge is, because we now have to deal with big data, and not just actually big data, but bold data. No, where Rowley would call it bold data, meaning big, open, and linked data. So it's not enough that we have big data all over. We should be able to link them, and they should be open to the public as much as possible. And then, there, of course, given all the disruptions that we're facing, we have seen that during the time of COVID-19, and now with all the geopolitical tensions happening, we have to be able to anticipate, to provide a kind of an anticipatory sense to our public services. How do we ensure that we're still able to continue public service even beyond, or even in times of disruptions, whether digital or otherwise? And then the issue of cybersecurity, and of course still the lingering issue about inclusion in the context especially of diversity and equity, and also because of the disruption, we're not talking about, okay, how do we ensure that we're able to deliver services continually in the middle of disruption. So now we're talking about flexible and remote workplaces, the agility of our administrative services, and of course the very important aspect of trust. How can we strengthen trust, especially when we talk about polarization? How do we still instill trust in government and other public sector organizations, including civil society? Now, some of the reality checks in the Philippines. Number one, of course, we also know we have the digital divide. There's high penetration rate in terms of internet, for instance. If you just focus on the internet, 73%, and it's much higher in Metro Manila. In the Philippines, there's about 95%. But if you go to the rural side, countryside, it's much lower. So there's already a wide gap. And while Filipinos are very active in social media globally, I think we're number one. We have been number one for so many years now. But in terms of digital competitiveness, taking into account infrastructure, policies, and so on, we're just lagging behind, and we're just around 77th globally. And we have some cases of this. During the COVID-19, we had the social amelioration program. This is like a support service or a monetary support given to families that were affected. But it turned out, these were done digitally, and the government was able to shift the mode of delivery to digital. But then again, we also we realized that many were able to access the aid due to lack of connectivity for simple reasons like they don't have smartphones or there's no signal and so on. And also in the case of our Department of Education, when talking about learning continuity, we had the same experience. We were able to shift to learning, but then again, only 70% had reliable internet. And in fact, majority of our students had to rely on printed module instead of digital platforms. So there was a lot of discrepancy in terms of those who could access the digital shift and those who could not. Again, so for that, my lesson number one would be policies, digital-first policies without inclusion will only amplify exclusion. Now, reality check number two, what we call as the Frankenstein effect, the legacy system integration, meaning there's a conflict, there's a mismatch between what we're trying to introduce in the government system and the other elements of governance. We're talking about outdated policies and laws, fragmented data, and in many cases, and some cases, overlapping authorities. And so because of that, the reform has been slow and it became more costly. If, for example, just to give you some idea, in 2022, we launched an eGov super app. It's like a central platform for 100 plus services. But then again, it was launched by the national government. LGU stand for local government units. But then again, many local government units were not really able to adapt and integrate the systems or take advantage of the systems because there's no infrastructure yet at the local level to integrate all of these things. And of course, we have other issues when it comes to other example here in the land registration. So lesson number two, we can digitize the system, the form, but the process is, if the process is broken, we're just going to automate this function. So we have to be careful about that. The reality check number 3 has something to do with what we call as trust deficit, cybersecurity, related to cybersecurity and data privacy. And there was actually a survey done in 2022, if I'm not mistaken, where over 65% of public and private sector bodies in the Asia Pacific cite security and data integrity as major concerns. In the ITU Cybersecurity Index, we don't rank that high, the Philippines, we're just 61st. We have a Data Privacy Act enacted more than a decade ago, but the implementation is evolving. The National Privacy Commission is supposed to take care of the mandate, the implementation of the law. It's a very small organization catering to more than 110 million people. And based on official data, cyber incidents, cyber crime related has increased by 560% from 2020 to 2020, in just a span of 3 years. And we have seen some cases in recent years. Our Philippine Health Insurance, it's a national health insurance system, the system was attacked and it paralyzed services and for some days, and it led to loss of public trust. The Commission on Elections also, in 2016, there was a data breach. More than 77 million voter records were compromised. So again, this kind of events did not really encourage confidence in the system. So lesson number 3, if we digitalize without security systems or public trust, we risk not just inefficiency, but chaos, because especially when it comes to the elections. Number 4 has something to do with the skills gap. This is now when it comes to digital literacy and capacity building. Our government workforce is about 1.8 million. These are your full-time government workforce. But so far, the training conducted from 2019 to 2023 has reached only the 23%. And we're still going through a lot of review. And there's an average gap of 45 in terms of the digital native gaps. And then issues when it comes to ethics also, there's fear of job displacement, and there are also certain biases in terms of who will be excluded or not in the process. Some cases, the Bureau of Internal Revenue, that's our tax agency, they have now started using AI or using the assistance of AI to audit the tax submissions, for instance. The Philippine identification system has also transitioned to digital transactions, but it has taken a while. And so there's been an effort to simplify the whole process for greater uptake. The Civil Service Commission just last year launched a digital bayanihan. Bayanihan is like a working together curriculum which aims to upskill 50,000 government workers in digital governance. And then for government corporations, there's been an effort also to do the same, to train a certain number of people, and it has led to 2.3 billion savings in terms of process automation. So lesson number 4, it's important that we don't just transform or just use digital tools, but we also need to promote ethical digital governance. Number 5, and this is the last, has something to do with the participation paradox. While we are seeing a lot of internet users, especially social media users in the country, as in fact we are the global leader in terms of daily average social media usage, there's still a small level or relatively lower level of trust in social media, in government social media engagement, in dealing with the government's social media account. And the overall digital service satisfaction is still about 50 below the regional Southeast Asian average. We have this case, but there have been some positive also. We have the Department of Information and Communications Technology. They have launched several platforms already. The Securities and Exchange Commission also has developed a systems that allows new businesses to register online in minutes, slashing bureaucrat delays. And there are some cities, like the example here, the Marikina city, which has introduced a system that allows for a 24/7 availability in Filipino and English, interaction with the citizen services, and reducing the response times from 3 days to 30 minutes. And this has increased client citizen satisfaction from 67% to 89%. So again, lesson number 5, digital transformation should connect, not disconnect. Lingering questions beyond the digital transformation, especially in relation to public administration. One is, how do we close the divide between the digital natives and the marginalized groups, which could be related to socio-economic divide and also to intergenerational gaps. And then on public service motivation, how can we leverage digital platforms amidst social polarization and divisive partnerships? On service delivery, how can we promote kindness and compassion as public service values in digital automated services? On impact, how do we avoid maladaptation to disruption, risks, and crisis? And on the education of future public administration practitioners, how do we train our students such that they will be equally prepared under normal conditions, and especially when society is unstable and the organizations that they oversee deviate from the norm? So in closing, I have this governance imperatives, 3 pivots, strategic pivots. One is to move away from developing the tech first towards including ensuring a people-centered design. So there has to be a closer inclusion, consultation, participation of the public when it comes to designing digital services. It should be informed by user experience from planning to testing. Then the other aspect is moving from siloed to interoperable systems, and that starts with creating platforms across different departments. And more importantly, at the regional level, aligning with the ASEAN Digital Master Plan and the ASEAN Digital Economy Framework. And then there's also, and then on the capacity side, the move from bureaucrats to digital stewards, investing in digital literacy and data ethics and cybersecurity for all civil servants, not just the IT staff. So overall, the digital transformation is not just about systems, it's about people and the values we embed in the systems. And also the question is not whether Southeast Asian governments will digitalize. It cannot be helped, it will happen. Maintaining public political will, collaborative governance, citizen-centric design, and regional cooperation. So I think that's it. Terima kasih. Thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you so much. So I guess it's one of the point that you mentioned earlier is that digital transformation, it should connect and not disconnect. Well, in reality, that is actually what a lot of countries are facing, a lot of the society are facing globally, is that the more advanced the technology, the more advanced the society, even though unequally advanced, there's like a bigger disparities that actually happen. So that's actually a global issue we also have here in Indonesia. Thank you so much, Dr. Kurt. And last but not least, it's my pleasure to introduce our final speaker, Dr. Lee Tu Mak. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. She is a lecturer at Ho Chi Minh National Academy of Politics in Hanoi and also teaches at Swinburne University of Technology, Hanoi. Dr. Mak holds a PhD in journalism from Monash University, and her academic journey includes studies in Australia and Vietnam, as well as research fellowship in the United States and China. So for Dr. Lee Tu Mak, the floor is yours.
Thank you and good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Okay. Thank you for inviting me to the 4th International Conference on Social Politics, Administration and Communication Science. My name is Lee Tu Mak. You can call me 2, like the number 2. and I'm from Ho Chi Minh National Academy of Politics in Hanoi, the capital city of Vietnam. And today I'm very delighted to join this conference to talk about a case study in digital communication and national narratives. This is a case study about the Facebook fan page of the government information in Vietnam. This platform offers a unique sight into how a single party communist system leverage a major private social media platform for state communication. I am now sharing my screen so you can have a very quick observation on the fan page. And I'm very proud to show you this fan page. The admin of this fan page, administrator of this fan page, is one of my alumni, a former student. He developed this fan page from an intern's project, intern's initiatives into a national media outlet. You can see here some rescue in the landslide. Here's last night Vietnam won the football match, a meeting of the government with Samsung in South Korea. Yes, the poster about the football match last night and the meeting of the government of Vietnam and Thailand in Bangkok yesterday. So I also sent you the link to this fan page in the chat box, so you can, so we can have some like and followers from international community. Now I would like to share my screen, my slide. Can you see it? Okay. And I hope you can see it. Can you see my slide?
Not yet. It's not up yet.
No, not yet. Okay, let me. I hope you can see it now.
Yes.
Yes. This is a screenshot of the fan page. Today it has 7.3 million followers. First, I provide some context information about Vietnam. The Socialist Republic of Vietnam is a... Sorry? It's a national... Okay. I hope you can hear it. Okay, we are a nation in the Southeast Asia, governed by a single party communist system. The population as of today is 105 million people, and 68.5% of the people in Vietnam is in the working age. And Vietnam is currently transitioning from a low-income developing country to a middle income country. And this results from the process of economic reforms since the 1986, so nearly 40 years now. So within that context, the Vietnamese government strategically embraced Facebook, and the official fan page title, where is that? The title is Government Information, was established in October 2015, and it states its function as to update the people on the activity directions of government, the Prime Minister, and other important information of the government. And as of July 2025, It is of the office of government and led by the Prime Minister of Vietnam. The initial motivation for creating the fan page was to deliver government press releases to the public. Administrator observed that journalists often only use selected and small portion of the press release, and leading to the underutilization of the valuable information. So the establishment of the fan page aligns with the Vietnamese government broader initiatives in digitalization and computerization. Now let's talk about the growth and impact of the fan page. Since its inception, the page has gained significant growth from over 35,000 people in October 2015. It's grown to 1.1 million followers in October 2020. And as of today, it has over 7.3 million people to follow it. And it's reportedly experienced a daily readership ranging from 15 to 20 million views, and the peak viewership reaching 30 million views per day. The fan page experienced two periods of significant follower growth. The first one is during the COVID-19 pandemic, 2020 to 2023. The restriction and lockdowns led to the increased reliance on digital platforms, and the fan page functioned as a vital channel for real-time updates and official pandemic-related announcements, leading to a tenfold increase in followers during this period. The second rapid growth period was in the final half of 2024 to present, July 2025, adding about 1.5 million followers. This was driven by the high-profile events, including the changes in high-ranking government position, live broadcast session, for example, the funeral of the late Communist Party leader, and the live broadcast of the street parade during the A50 or A80 events, and the devastating impacts of Typhoon Yagi in Hanoi and in the north of Vietnam last year. And so these events attracted substantial public attention, driving users to the fan page for official information. The choice of Facebook was strategic. It is the most popular social media platform in Vietnam. The number of Facebook users in Vietnam grew from 39 million in 2019 to about to 59.5 million in this year, and as we continue to grow. Besides Facebook, the administrator used Facebook as a platform because it's surpassing TikTok, YouTube, and other social media platforms in Vietnam. And following this success, the government office has expanded its social media presence to include channels on YouTube, on X, on Zalo, the local social media platform, and on Viber, in addition to approximately 20 web-based information portals. This demonstrates a broader trend. While social media was traditionally viewed as a non-mainstream tool with concern about control and sovereignty. Its successful implementation has led to increasing mainstream acceptance and use by most governmental organizations in Vietnam as of today. Let's see. Okay. The fan page success can be it can be attributed to several factors. First is direct access to authentic and exclusive government news. Because the administrator and personnel within the government office, they can disseminate information rapidly and directly from the PM to the mass public. The second factor is the use of concise and youth-oriented language. This approach converts complex government documents into brief, easy digestible contents, making it accessible and engaging for the broader audience. Next is the timeliness and relevance. The fan page addresses timely and handy issues, ensuring the content remains relevant and aligned with the community interest, stirring connection and engagement. And it's also empowerment of the youth because the management board of this fan page is people from the Gen Z, and they are professionally trained in journalism school. Before coming to this slide, I would come back to the, yes. The fan page gained an international. In Vietnam, it has been praised for effectively communicating government policy and is operated 24/7. The Deputy Minister of Information and Communication, Bùi Hoàng Phương, highlight that the electronic information portals and the website, including this fan page, are now actively engaging in two-way interaction and information exchange with the public. Internationally, Meta, the Facebook's owner, has recognized its success. Joe David Kaplan, Facebook's vice president of global public policy, and now he is the president of global affairs at Meta, called the government information portal as a strategic information and effective partners of Meta in Vietnam. Dr. Raphael Frankel, the Director of Public Policy for Southeast Asia at Meta, also commended the fan page for its professional, responsible dissemination of trust official information. Okay. The content strategy of this fan page also align with the broader national digital narratives. There is a consistent thematic emphasis on positivity and national development. The digital contents highlight national achievements, promote positive conduct through good people, good deeds, and actively encourage citizen participation in national modernization course. This is also aligned with Vietnam's long-term goals of attaining the high average income status by the year 2045, when we celebrate the 100th anniversary of national independence. The next point in digital narrative, national digital narrative, is that The fan page is the articulation of collectivist voice, representing the collective national leadership rather than individual figures. And because in Vietnam we have the practice of democratic centralism of politics, that's why we hardly can see any individual politician opened his or her own fan page, but collectively we have the fan page for the government in general. This also aligns with an evolution of state-owned media form because 2025 is the milestone for Vietnam when we restructure the administrative system and the number of media outlets, print, newspaper, broadcasting station now reduced by 50%. Number of reporters reduced by 50%, and you can see a lot of reporters and journalists have been made redundant, unemployed during the past 6 months. But if we look at social media, we can see that there is an increasing governmental presence on social media platform. And this indicates a digital transform from the traditional print and broadcast media to social media. And to conclude, the Facebook fan page, Government Information managed by the Government Office of Vietnam, has proven to be an exceptional, effective communication channel. The full paper has been submitted to the Conference Management Board. You are welcome to read the full paper, and here's my contact email, so you can contact me, and I'm eager to your feedback and question. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rituma. It's actually interesting about the youth activism or youth nationalism, to be specific. So, because we're actually a bit short on time, so I shall open the Q&A session for the participants. If you have any questions for the speakers, you can just write down in the chat box and give your question, and write down who are you directing the question to. But before, I shall apologize for Dr. Professor Deswani. He has another urgent schedule, so he won't be joining us for the Q&A session. Saya terjemahkan dalam bahasa Indonesia. Jadi bagi para peserta yang ingin bertanya kepada para pembicara, silakan dituliskan pertanyaannya. Jangan lupa ditujukan kepada siapa pertanyaan itu diberikan. Apabila khawatir menggunakan bahasa Inggris, silakan pertanyaan dituliskan dalam bahasa Indonesia. Nanti akan saya bantu terjemahkan untuk para pembicara. Jadi bagi yang memiliki pertanyaan bagi para pembicara, silakan saja dituliskan di kolom chat. Atau ada yang ingin raise hand juga boleh. Kita memiliki waktu 10 menit untuk Q&A session. So if you have any questions, feel free to raise hand, or you can just write down the question in the in the chat box. We have 10 minutes for Q&A session.
Hello. Okay. Hi, I have a question for Dean Berse from NCPAG, the University of the Philippines. My name is Caitlin Cuyugan. I am also from NCPAG. And in your presentation, Dean, you said, or you mentioned the statistic that Filipinos tend to rank high globally when it comes to social media usage, yet rank low when it comes to digital literacy. Now, related to that, in 1992, Dr. Patricia Licuanan published a study under the Economic Development Foundations entitled Filipino Values and Moral Development, where it was uncovered that Filipinos culturally tend to favor form over substance, which makes the statistics that you mentioned not surprising. With this in mind, from a public administration point of view, how can the government close the gap, especially considering that most of our capability building interventions right now are focused on the civil service rather than the general public?
Please answer this one first.
Okay, yeah. Thank you for that question. Um, I'm not quite sure if I got it correctly, but my understanding is that yes, there's a focus now on enhancing the digital skills of the civil servants. But I think, like in any uh, platform, um, there's also the side of ensuring, like as I have mentioned in my presentation, that we are also educating the public, no? Because at the end of the day, no matter how good the system is that we are instituting on the side of the government, if the public uh, doesn't understand it, doesn't find value in it, then most likely the system, the reform or the innovation will not be able to take off, no, as expected. So I think there has to be a two-way kind of training, capacity building, and that's one of the probably that's probably where, as you have pointed out, that's where we are still lacking, I would say, because the if we look at the educational reforms, for instance, even up to this day, the focus really is not so much into the digital skills yet, no. But I think that's one way to go to ensure that whatever digital reforms happen at the government side will be in line and will be fully in sync with the digital capacity and the digital appreciation of the citizens.
Thank you so much. Does anyone have any other question? I think we still have.
Okay.
Um,
Thank you.
we
For
still
the
have 5 minutes, so I guess we still have time for one more question for the speakers.
okay. My name is Imam Riawan from.
Anybody from the audience or maybe anyone from the Zoom meeting who wants to ask questions, you
Okay.
can just.
Okay, my name is Imam Riawan from Faculty of Communications, Universitas Islam Riau. I'm asking for the social media research for maybe for Professor Michael Zueni and also to Associate Professor Christopher Beavers. We know today the data, we use the big data to understand the sentiment analysis and also the consumer behavior in business or in politics. But the data is so difficult to get because we have to retrieving data from the social media today. You know, before it we used the Facebook, and then in 2020 until 2023 or 24 maybe Facebook is been living by the citizen. They are moving to TikTok, but today maybe Facebook also use again because there is a Meta and also the dollar Facebook, you know. So today in politics or in business, actually how we can understand the behavior of consumer behavior or society behavior. We know that there is Instagram for the Gen Z, and then there is Facebook, and for the Facebook we have to watch many social media to understand the public opinion or public sentiment and consumer consumer behavior. Thank you.
Okay, so perhaps Mr. Burst can answer the question. Your mic is still off. I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you for that question. I think, yeah, before, no, it used to be easier to harvest actually data from social media, but I think also because of data privacy concerns, data security, and so on, that's why there is that you know tightening of information or data flow, you know, from the social media, from the various social media platforms, starting around 2 years or 3 years ago. So I think the approach really would still be the same, except that now we have to, I think, try to source from different sources. Try to look at not just because there's also without those restrictions, there's also the tendency for abuse. Maybe for academe, it might not be that risky, but there are also other stakeholders, actors, especially from the private sector, who can potentially abuse it for profit, the flow of data. So I think the restriction is really meant also to protect the individuals and the people from data breach and data theft and so on. So as a researcher, I think the best way for us is to source out from multiple sources. I think relatively, for instance, if you're looking at engagement, the YouTube is still there. Even some other typically non-traditional media like the forums like Reddit. That's where you can also get some information in terms of sentiment of people and so on. So yeah, I think there's that balancing act that needs to be done between privacy and use of information for whatever the purpose, for policy development or for research and so on. But it has to be balanced with privacy because otherwise, the an open ecosystem could easily be abused also by some stakeholders.
Okay, thank you so much. And with that answer, we shall close the session online. So I shall draw a conclusion. So for today, from the three speakers, we learned that from Professor Deswani, there are three dimensions that we must remember when it comes to digitalization, which is access, affordability, and also the ability to use the technology. But as also was explained by Associate Professor Burst, how it's actually, we actually need to be literate. We actually need to be educated and informed about how to actually use or digital transformation would not succeed if the people or the society isn't equally informed. Well, it seems like it's quite pessimistic about the future when it comes to digitalization, when it comes to the society, but yet we see the case in Vietnam that was explained by Dr. Lee Puma, that actually people in this case, in her case study, the young generation of Gen Z, they're actually literate enough, they're actually educated enough, they actually manage to create a change, they create an impact, they create a national movement that actually raised nationalism for the youth and the society there through their Facebook. So I guess the material for today from all three speakers are very informative and shall I say, quite enlightening in a way. So thank you very much to all the three speakers for your time and participation and for the knowledge that you shared with us. And also on behalf of the organizing committee, I shall, yeah, I shall say sincere thankful also for all the participants and attendees for your thoughtful participation. And this concludes our speaker session. We appreciate your time and engagement. We look forward to welcoming you at our future event. I'm Irma Santi Ganadarta. I'm signing off. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mrs. Irma and all speakers.
And I shall return this to the Master of Ceremonies.
Thank you.
As we come to the conclusion of our event, I would like to take a moment to express our heartfelt gratitude to all who made this gathering possible. A special thank you to our co-hosts coming from STI SIP Widyapuri Mandiri, Universitas Wahid Hasim Semarang, Universitas Nurtanio Bandung, Universitas Muhammadiyah Palangkaraya, and also our fellow speakers and participants from Australia, Malaysia, Philippines, Vietnam, Bangladesh, and Indonesia for your invaluable contribution and support. Of course, heartfelt gratitude to all the presenters from UNTAC Surabaya itself. Your commitment to excellence and innovation has greatly enriched our discussion. Thank you all for being here today. We look forward to seeing you at our future events. Safe travels home. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Pengumuman kepada Bapak dan Ibu presenter segera menuju ke lantai 8 Station 14 untuk istirahat dan mengikuti sesi presentasi. Kemudian kepada Bapak dan Ibu pengurus wilayah periode 2021 hingga 2025 dan pengurus wilayah periode 2025 hingga 2029 menuju ke meeting room lantai 1 untuk mengikuti pelantikan. To all the presenter are requested head to 8th floor, station 14 for a break and attend the parallel and presentation session. Thank you.
Thank you.